Despite my name, I wasn't alive in the 70s. Even if I had been, I wouldn't have been watching 70s-style Robot Anime Geppy-X. Why, you ask? Well, because it wasn't a real anime. Instead, it's a cult classic 2D side-scrolling shoot-'em-up that was released later into the PS1 life cycle, 1999 to be precise. Further complicating things, Geppy-X never saw the light of day outside of Japan. That is until now. So where does the whole anime thing come from? Well, the game frames itself as an entirely original show, going as far as to have full anime cutscenes, a cheesy 70s theme song, and an episodic format. Quite literally, it is structured like a television broadcast of that era. There's a next episode teaser, an ending theme, cliffhangers, 70s-influenced mechs, anime babes, and of course, heroic manly men. The developers were in fact so committed to making Geppy-X feel authentic that they hired notable anime voice talents and singers out of Japan. This would all equal out to a massive 4 discs of content due to the sheer volume of video footage being used, despite the actual runtime of the gameplay itself lasting maybe a bit over an hour. Being exclusive to Japan for so long, it would become rather expensive to obtain in other territories, meaning only the fiercest of collectors had or have it on their shelves. As someone that believes game preservation is extremely important, it's hard not to applaud publisher Blissbrain for bringing this to a wider audience. But that said, it is important to know that 70s-style Robot Anime Geppy-X is not in itself a very good shoot-'em-up, and you'll be playing for the interesting concept and absurdity of it all over anything else. Taking place in the year 197X, the evil cosmic demon empire is attacking Earth with the help of evil beastly machines. Fear not, as back at a super awesome space robot lab located somewhere, the mega fighting robot Geppy-X is being created and is just about ready to spring into action. Fans of classic Japanese mecha anime will get a kick out of the fun characters, the dialogue, and lovely anime cutscenes, which have been a bit smoothed over for this new release, with the option available to preserve their original look and format, thankfully, but we'll talk about those a little bit more later. Between the onslaught of cutscenes and dramatics are just a handful of levels broken up into different episodes. Gameplay is about as standard as it gets for the genre, with the added twist of 3 different parts to the mech being available to swap between at any time, that all play a bit differently from one another. Geppy-1, piloted by K, is the most basic of the 3, offering balanced attacks and speeds. Geppy-2 is significantly faster than the others, and then Yellow is extremely slow but packs one hell of a punch. I can appreciate the element of strategy this adds to the game, even if the levels themselves are extremely short, the boss patterns are relatively dull, and there just isn't much in the way of challenge compared to other games in the genre. Much of this lack of difficulty comes from having a health bar, or in this case, armor. Your mechs can absorb tons of hits, meaning that genre veterans might want to crank the difficulty up from the onset. Outside of your 2 standard weapon types per mech, players will also have an X-Power super attack which fills as you progress through levels. This screen-filling explosion does a decent job of taking down your adversaries, though maybe isn't as effective as I would have expected against bosses. At least they look pretty dramatic and awesome. Thankfully, rapid fire is now an option too, meaning that you can simply hold down the back triggers to fire away. My understanding is that the PS1 original didn't allow this. Ugh. Despite a lack of challenge and rather brief runtime, Geppy-X does offer some replayability. There's a few branching narrative paths, which are choice and performance-based, that can unlock different episodes, endings, and more. As far as what else is new in this iteration of the game, there's now subtitles available in 8 different languages, full restoration of the cutscenes based off of the master tapes, and now at a glorious 24 FPS as opposed to the original's 15, the ability to rewind gameplay, there's save states, and of course achievements or trophies depending on which platform you're playing on. There's a few CRT filters, a manual, and an unlockable boss rush too. All told, not a ton of new content has been added, but the few bells and whistles will be appreciated by most gamers. Despite its awesome presentation outside of gameplay, the in-game visuals of 70s-style Robot Anime Geppy-X aren't super impressive. The 2D gameplay sprites are lacking detail when compared to games the likes of Mega Man X4 and Symphony of the Night, almost feeling closer to what you might expect out of an early SNES game in some regards. If you are to leave all of the cutscenes and fun stuff out of the equation, you have a pretty dull-looking game with stiff animations, flat, boring backgrounds, and poor visual effects. That said, I'll credit the game for having good enemy variety and some creative designs. At least it all sounds pretty great though, with hilarious anime-inspired theme songs and a decent array of crunchy retro sound effects and yelps. Last time I have to say this title, 70s-style Robot Anime Geppy-X doesn't offer much for modern-day gamers hoping to discover a retro classic, but there's something here for both fans of the original and anime enthusiasts. The presentation is truly unlike anything I've experienced before, and I'd love to see this concept revived with better gameplay to complement the entire package. Now don't get me wrong, you won't be miserable playing through these levels, but they do feel like fluff, and that's a bit strange given that story and cutscenes are usually the least interesting parts of a shoot-'em-up. But I, for one, am glad that more players will now have access to this extremely interesting piece of gaming history. I am awarding, let's just go with Geppy-X, the bronze genie lamp of approval. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to help us continue to be able to bring a voice to the voiceless. Join the over 60,000 indie warriors that have said goodbye to the gaming echo chamber. For even more support, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you can get Discord access, early shows, exclusive content, and more, now with a brand new $2 entry tier. Or check out YouTube memberships for exclusive badges, custom emoji, and other fun perks. Support real people making real things, because here at I Dream of Indie Games, it's always about the games.